up? Welcome to Dave's Kitchen. I am Dave. Today we're gonna do some steak. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do a steak. When I was growing up, my favorite steak in the world was anything outdoor on a charcoal grill. And a lot of people love that, but let's be honest, the flavor's there with an outdoor grilled steak, but sometimes the juiciness and tenderness is not there. It gets a little dry. You know my affinity for pan-seared steak. Today, we're gonna reverse sear a steak. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in a 250-degree oven for about an hour, let that do most of the work, and then after that, we'll pull it out, sear it about a minute on each side, boom, it's gonna be great. As far as ingredients when cooking a steak, probably the most important ingredient is a steak, and I have one. I got me a nice, about a 1-pound prime Angus boneless ribeye. Now, I don't normally mess around with prime unless it's a special occasion. You being here today at Dave's Kitchen is a special occasion. A lot of times I mess around with choice, but I splurged today. So we got a nice prime boneless ribeye. We're gonna need some aromatics. I got some rosemary and some thyme. Got a few cloves of garlic. You're also gonna need some oil. Now, a lot of times people cook with olive oil, as you know. The only problem with olive oil is that it's got a low smoke point. It just smokes too much when you get to a certain temperature. And because we're reverse searing this, when we pull it out of the oven, we're gonna just sear the hell out of it, about a minute on each side. Scalding hot cast iron skillet. So we need an oil with a good smoke point. I got some canola oil here. A little fresh ground black pepper, some kosher salt, a couple tablespoons of butter. And as far as equipment, you're gonna need a heavy bottom pan. If you don't have a cast iron skillet, any type of just heavy bottom, stainless steel, whatever, just a good dense pan. And then also we need a tray with a wire rack. And I'll explain why this is important here in a minute. And then if you've got a meat thermometer, that'll work as well. But that's the setup. Now it's time to season this bad boy up. So let's just start with plenty of good kosher salt. Season this bad boy up. Pat that down. Nice fresh ground black pepper. Never have enough of that. Don't forget to season the edges. Now this is a big, thick piece of meat, so plenty of salt, plenty of nice, fresh black pepper. That's going to help create a nice crust. That's the whole point of the sear part of the reverse sear, is to get a nice golden crust. But there, that's about how I like it. So we'll just take no oil, just salt and pepper, onto the wire rack. Now the reason we need a wire rack, if we were to put this into the cast iron skillet and throw it in the oven, that would work fine, other than the fact that this bottom side is gonna cook faster than the top side because it's making contact with the surface of the pan. So this wire rack enables you to cook it in the oven without the bottom side actually getting overcooked because it's not touching. So 250 for about an hour. This is about 1.25 inches. Anything smaller, you'd probably want to go around 50 minutes, but at 250 with this weight and this thickness, about an hour. 250 into the oven. Now we wait. All right, guys, steak just came out of the oven, right at an hour. Again, 250 degrees. So now we've got our scalding hot cast iron skillet. I've put in the vegetable oil. So now what we're gonna do is just 60 seconds on each side. And on that second 60 seconds, that's when we'll throw in the garlic and the butter and the herbs and get a little basting action going on. All right, out of the oven, directly into the scalding hot pan. And at this point, we can go ahead and throw in our garlic, just to kind of let that do its thing. All right, that's about 60 seconds on that side. Look at that. Look at that nice char, that nice crust. So for the second side, we're gonna go ahead and turn the heat off because this is still incredibly hot. And we're gonna add some butter and our fresh herbs. And while this is going, let's get some basting action going on here. All that butter with the aromatics, the herbs, that's just flavor right there. There's our timer, 60 seconds, pan, the heat's off. What I'm looking for is medium rare, and that's going to put you at about 130 to 135. Internal temp, boom. Look at that, beautiful. And we'll let this rest for 10 to 15 minutes. You definitely don't want to cut into it too soon. It's very important when you put this much heat and intensity into a piece of meat, it's got to rest for 10 to 15 minutes. So 10, 15 minutes from now, we'll be slicing into a nice reverse-sear, boneless prime ribeye. I'm excited. Now, I know you might ask, Dave, why the hell would I wait an hour? Why would I spend over an hour cooking a steak when I could just throw it in the skillet, a few minutes on each side? That original method is fine, it works great, but the thing with reverse-sear, and this is, I don't know all the science behind it, but it's kind of like a magic trick, but when you cook a steak, whether it be on the grill or just in the pan, regardless of what temp you're going for, let's say you're going for medium rare, you'll notice when you cut into it, that center might be where you want it, that kind of red, bright pink, medium rare. But then the colors are going to kind of taper off because those top and bottom surfaces are going to cook faster and quicker than that middle part would. So you're going to see in a regular steak, the top and the bottom might have a gray tint to it, and then it will gradually get pink and then red, kind of the color chart thing. Ideally, and we'll find out here in a second if I did it right, with the reverse-sear, you get that temp, that color and that temp throughout the steak. Takes a little longer, but man, when you nail the temp on a steak, again, I don't know who the hell would cook a well-done steak. I used to work at Longhorn Steakhouse and Outback Steakhouse. Both jobs, I was just inundated with butterfly extra well. Again, might as well just eat a shoe. Butterfly, butterfly cut. That way we get it all. I don't want any pink or red. I want it all brown and charred and to taste like shit. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Reverse-sear. Hopefully we got that medium rare color all the way throughout. So let's go ahead and cut into this bad boy and see how I did. Okay, here we go. Nice ribeye. We've got the eye, and we've got the cap, and we've got the tail here. This tail is always just absolutely delicious. But here's how I kind of break down a ribeye. I like this. This cap is so good, I want it to stand on its own. This part here, this is the money part of the steak. So we've got the tail, we've got the cap, and we've got the eye. So let's go ahead and carve up this eye. Now against the grain, right? So find your grain, which way the meat's going, and we want to cut against that. So here we go, let's take a look. What we've got here. Okay, so ideally I was going for medium rare. This is more of a medium. And this is the risk you take when you do a cooking video and they only have one steak. But yeah, this is a little overcooked for my taste. Some people who like medium. But regardless, you can see that the color is constant throughout. I mean, we've got a little bit of that gray ring there, but for the most part, consistent color, as opposed to if you cooked it in a pan, just this very center part might be your target color. And then this would be a little more substantial on the ends. But yeah, overcooked this one a little bit. I'm not afraid to admit when I screwed up. Probably left it in about 5 minutes too long in the oven. But still, that's a pretty nice medium right there. So if you like medium, there you go. This cap right here, oh boy. We got the nice tail. But yeah, this is how I would plate this up. Got this cap separate here. tail action on the side. Some scraps for Charlie. But yeah, honestly, I wouldn't send this back, but yeah, that's not quite a medium rare. That's more towards medium, maybe even towards medium well. But hey, you live and learn. But you know the technique. Just a matter of pulling it out of the oven a few minutes earlier. But regardless, I mean, we're talking prime Angus ribeye right there. The marbling, the color, got the nice little crust on the outside. I mean, and like I said, very little seasoning, salt and pepper. That's all we're doing. A little butter, a little garlic, a little herb there with the basting. Just the richness and the beefiness. It's juicy, it's tender. Guys, there you go. Reverse-Sear ribeye. In the oven for about an hour, 250. Of course, now we know with this thickness, maybe 50 minutes. Pull it out, 60-second sear on each side, basting it on after that first turn, or the only turn. Let it rest for 10-15 minutes, you're good to go. Now you know how to cook a Reverse-Sear ribeye. Patrons, thank you so much. As always, I appreciate the support. Appreciate that you give a crap what I'm doing here at Dave's Kitchen. And we'll see you next month.